We spend our lives longing for a sense of belonging when we've been belonging the whole time. Systems don't create worth. They shape the stories we tell about our worth. Healer's log, stardate 001. Coordinate set, transmission begins. Welcome to Innerverse Dialogues. This is where I practice the inner work out loud. I'm Dr. El Tomei. I'm a daughter, a sister, a mother, a grandmother, a wife, a Christ follower, and a justice-impacted survivor scholar whose life has been shaped by systems that try to tell us who we are before we get a chance to discover it for ourselves. Innerverse Dialogues is my way of slowing down long enough to examine the stories we carry. The stories about justice, belonging, worth, identity, and power. Because the truth is, the stories we inherit shape the language we use. And language shapes the world that we contribute and help create. For the last several years, my research has explored how language shapes justice, especially in the field of restorative justice, and more intentionally, restorative justice discourse. What I discovered is something both simple and profound. And what my research revealed is this. Restorative justice is not just a set of practices. It is a discourse. And when the discourse itself is shaped by the same systems of power it's trying to interrupt, we can unintentionally reproduce harm while calling it healing. That's why this work isn't just about what we do. It's about how we make meaning and the language we use to do it. Many of the systems meant to help us heal are still operating within the same narratives that caused harm in the first place. And if we don't examine the stories beneath the language, we risk repeating the very patterns we say we want to dismantle. That realization led me to develop what I call joy. Joy is justice operating in you. Joy is a way of examining how systems of oppression don't just operate outside of us. They also shape the narratives we carry inside of us. And the work of justice begins when we become aware of these stories. So in each episode of Innerverse Dialogues, it follows what I call the truth transmission sequence. Receive, reflect, reckon, and reworld. Receive. Notice what is arising in you. Reflect. Examine the stories, the narratives, the discourse that's shaping your own interpretation about a thing or a situation or a person or a community. Reckon. Tell the truth about what those stories are doing, right? Because when we think about stories, the way they are framed, they can put someone in a certain perspective where you only see them one way, or they can expand and even exaggerate it where you can distort how you see them. And reckon is what we need to do. That's the truth about what those stories are doing. They're either limiting or they are empowering, right? We can say there's no either or, but when it comes to our words, it's not gray. Words are not neutral. And reworld. Reworld is choosing the language that aligns with the world you want to help create and speaking that same truth to yourself. So if you want to see love in the world, guess what? You got to love more. You got to speak love. You got to be love. You have to love with intent. Because why? Because words create worlds. And if we want to live in a more just world, we have to become conscious of the language shaping our reality. You see, we spend so much time trying to change systems out there, and of course, I'm all on board for that. However, when we do that, the systems are also sustained by the stories that we carry inside of us. I often say that there are people behind the systems that are operating to either oppress or empower. And we often focus on the systems outside of us and we look to dismantle those systems. But what the Innerverse is asking us to do here on Innerverse Dialogues is to go in the universe within, the place where identity, memory, faith, history, and imagination all meet. It's where we wrestle with the narratives we inherited, and it's where we begin to write new ones. And if you're listening and I don't know what your history is, and you might be wondering, that sounds a little bit like a Star Trek theme. Well, stay with me. The truth is, science fiction has always been one of the most powerful mirrors for examining humanity. Characters like Seven of Nine, Spock, Uhura, they help us explore identity, assimilation, belonging, and resistance in ways that feel both imaginative and deeply real. Sometimes the clearest way to see our own world is to look at it from another galaxy. And one of the central insights from my research is this: belonging is not something we earn, belonging is inherent. And as I wrote in my dissertation, we be longing for a sense of belonging when we've been belonging the whole time. And yes, I use those words on purpose. Systems, however, they obscure that truth. And justice, it restores alignment with that truth. And that's why it's important to do that inner work. And I decided to do it out loud. So Innerverse Dialogues isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating space to ask more reflective questions. Questions about the stories we inherited. Questions about the language we use. Questions about the worlds we are helping create. And if you're someone who believes justice requires both courage and reflection, you're in the right place. Healer's log, closing transmission. Coordinates reached. Until next time, keep listening to the stories shaping your world and examining them. This is Dr. El Tomei. Welcome to the Innerverse Dialogues. Transmission complete. If this resonates with you, follow the podcast, because in the next episode, we're going to examine the story systems taught us about belonging and why they were never true.